She was humiliated in front of a crowd when she was denied access to a fashionable party because of a red cap with the MAGA logo. Mockery, whispers, and contempt. All of it was meant to break her, but she just smiled and started a live broadcast. No one expected that in one night, their arrogance would turn into a viral scandal. The way she put her offenders in their place became a lesson for everyone who underestimated the power of a strong personality. Los Angeles, a bustling street where designer boutiques alternate with cafes featuring outdoor terraces. Evening. Caitlin Harper walked confidently down the sidewalk in her signature classic style. Dark blue jeans, a white t-shirt, and a light leather jacket draped over her shoulders. But all the attention was drawn to her bright red MAGA cap. The sunlight, like a spotlight, seemed to illuminate her as if fate itself had chosen to make Caitlin stand out from the crowd. Across the street stood a luxurious mansion adorned with string lights, as if prepared for a movie premiere. A private, exclusive fashion party was taking place there. Outside, an impressive line had formed. Men in velvet blazers, women in dresses with plunging necklines, and oversized sunglasses. Caitlin, despite her fame, chose not to draw unnecessary attention to herself. But, of course, her cap did that for her. She approached the entrance, where a woman was managing the guest list, a blonde with a perfectly styled bun, dressed in a strict black suit. Her face, devoid of any friendliness, resembled a statue come to life to pass judgment. "Sorry, but—" The blonde furrowed her brow slightly, clearly savoring the moment. "We don't allow anyone in with that accessory." Caitlin raised an eyebrow, her face glowing with friendly curiosity. "What accessory?" she asked innocently. "The political one," the blonde replied, saying the word as though it were something dirty. "Oh, I thought fashion was all about freedom of expression," Caitlin quipped with a light smile. The blonde gave her a look as if trying to peer through the cap and into the depths of Caitlin's soul. "This is a private event, and we try to avoid unnecessary provocations. It would be better if you left before things become awkward," the blonde added, crossing her arms. Meanwhile, whispers spread through the line. Some people clearly enjoyed the scene, while others discreetly raised their phones to record the moment. "Seriously?" Caitlin shook her head, as if wondering whether this blonde had taken her lines straight out of a cheap sitcom. "Absolutely," the woman replied with a stony expression, adding a touch of theatrical authority to her stance. "All right then," Caitlin said, stepping back. "No red carpet for me, huh?" The line chuckled quietly. Caitlin turned and walked away slowly, aware of dozens of eyes following her. Cameras continued to roll. Her red cap, glowing in the evening sunlight, became a symbol of silent protest, invisible to those who scorned it. At the corner, she stopped by a hot dog stand, ordered one with mustard, and gazed into the crowd, murmuring thoughtfully, "Funny how this cap scares people more than my audience does." The vendor smirked, and a passerby, recognizing Caitlin, silently pulled out their phone to snap a photo. The chapter ended with her disappearing into the shadowy street, calmly eating her hot dog, leaving the glitz and drama of the party behind. But in reality, it was only the beginning. Caitlin was heading toward the sidewalk when she heard a loud, mocking voice. "Looks like MAGA isn't fashionable anymore!" Laughter erupted from the crowd like a party popper. Caitlin stopped, turned around, and saw him. A guy in a flawless designer suit, clearly a trendy influencer, or just an overconfident snob. He stood flanked by two friends who eagerly nodded along to his every word. "Just look at this," he continued, pointing at Caitlin. "Red cap, white t-shirt, classic combo. A textbook conservative fangirl." One of his friends chimed in. "Funny how people like that still think anyone takes them seriously." The crowd began murmuring. Some looked at Caitlin with curiosity, others with open disdain. However, off to the side, a woman in a green dress quietly remarked, "Do you even know who she is?" The guy didn't bother turning around. "Does it matter? That cap says it all." Instead of getting angry, Caitlin calmly took off the cap and looked at it as if re-evaluating its meaning. Then, Slowly and deliberately, she put it back on. Well, since it's so popular, why not give it a little more attention? She said, pulling out her phone. The guy continued his tirade. I bet she doesn't even have a decent following. Just another no-name with big ambitions. Let's see what people think, Caitlin said calmly, starting a live stream. Before she could even speak, comments flooded the screen. Viewers immediately tuned into the drama. What kind of party is this? Why didn't they let her in? Who's this guy? He looks ridiculous in that suit. Discriminating over a cap? That's a new low. Meanwhile, the guy kept laughing loudly, recounting to his friends how he had put another conservative in her place. One viewer commented, "This snob's face deserves to be a meme." Caitlin addressed her audience. Guys, you know I'm not one to start drama, but sometimes a cap stirs up more emotions than an entire outfit. Don't you agree? The chat exploded with approving comments as viewers began sharing the stream. Do you know what you're doing? The woman in the green dress finally asked the guy. Of course I do. We're just trying to keep the place free of undesirables, he smirked, turning back to his friends. But one of the friends had gone quiet, staring intently at his phone. He leaned in and whispered, I think that's Caitlin Harper. The guy froze but quickly brushed it off. So what? A few followers? That means nothing. But his tone betrayed his faltering confidence, and the murmurs in the crowd grew louder. Some whispered, Is that the blogger? She can destroy anyone online. She takes on big issues. Companies pay fines after she calls them out. Caitlin ignored the whispers, calmly continuing to film, turning the camera toward the guy. Sometimes the loudest voices end up saying the dumbest things. Do you think this is worth discussing? She asked her audience. Her viewership, now in the thousands, responded emphatically. Oh, this needs to be a meme! This guy's going to regret it. Discrimination at a fashion party? Is that even legal? Caitlin walked away down the sidewalk, leaving the crowd and drama behind. Meanwhile, the guy frantically checked his phone, realizing that his face was already going viral in the live stream. The scene ended with Caitlin's final words, spoken with a smile. Funny how a little cap can make a day so unforgettable. The crowd burst into laughter, and the guy, blushing furiously, tried to slip away in the opposite direction. But it was too late. His arrogance had already gone viral. Only an hour had passed since Caitlin ended her live stream, but her phone was practically on fire with notifications. The internet was buzzing. The video of the arrogant man, his cutting remarks, and his attempt to insult Caitlin had gone viral on social media. Hashtags like #MAGA style, #Red Hat Drama, and #Vanessa Rose Fail quickly trended at the top. Caitlin's fans took the situation into their own hands. Some created memes, others called for a boycott of Vanessa Rose's brand, and still others simply enjoyed the spectacle. Even major fashion publications chimed in, questioning whether fashion had become a tool of discrimination. Meanwhile, things at the party weren't going smoothly. Security guards at the entrance exchanged uneasy glances as a growing crowd gathered outside the mansion. Reporters, having caught wind of the scandal, were already broadcasting live from the scene, while inside, partygoers scrolled through their Instagram feeds, puzzled by the sudden flood of posts about the red cap. Suddenly, Vanessa Rose herself appeared on the steps in front of the entrance, a petite woman in a long black dress adorned with a chunky necklace. Normally, her presence would spark camera flashes and enthusiastic cheers, but this time her expression was more panicked than poised. She nervously scanned the crowd, spotted Caitlin, and forcing a smile, approached her. Ms. Harper, she began in an overly cheerful tone. What a pleasure to see you here. Caitlin raised an eyebrow, giving Vanessa a calm, measured look, and slid her phone into her pocket, as though offering her a chance to explain herself. Really? Caitlin asked with a touch of sarcasm. Because it seems your staff didn't get the memo that you're pleased to see me. Her words landed like a needle piercing a sore spot. The crowd at the entrance chuckled, and someone shouted, Looks like the boss and her staff are living in two different worlds. Vanessa tensed for a moment, but quickly regained her composure. This was a terrible misunderstanding. I personally apologize for what happened. Please believe me, this doesn't reflect the values of our brand, she said. Oh, really? Caitlin responded calmly, crossing her arms. And what exactly are your values, if a hat can cause such an uproar? The crowd laughed even louder. Phones were out, capturing every word. Someone whispered, Vanessa just became the star of her own anti-ad campaign. Realizing the situation was spiraling out of control, Vanessa shifted tactics. Ms. Harper, we would be delighted to have you at the party. I'd be happy to compensate you for this incident, she said with a forced smile. Caitlin tilted her head slightly, as if considering the offer. Compensate me? She repeated, feigning mild surprise. Are you sure my followers need that? It seems like they've already decided how to compensate for tonight. Even some of the reporters laughed at this. Vanessa struggled to maintain her composure, but her smile became increasingly strained. Perhaps we could discuss this in a more private setting, she suggested, hoping the crowd would stop recording her. Of course, Caitlin replied, taking a step closer. But you know what? I prefer transparency. After all, as they say, the truth always looks best in the light. The crowd reacted immediately. Applause, laughter, and comments like, Caitlin's on fire! And Vanessa, time to step down from the fashion Olympus. The chapter ended with Vanessa receiving a call. Her assistant's panicked voice could be heard. We're losing followers! Down 20,000 in the last half hour! Caitlin, overhearing this, smirked and pulled her red cap a little lower. Funny, she said. Does your audience hate the color red too? The morning in Los Angeles began with a flood of headlines. A fashion party turns into a scandal. Discrimination over a cap? Articles accompanied by stills from Caitlin's live stream dominated the news. Social media was ablaze. The hashtag Vanessa Rosefail broke records as celebrities, influencers, and even politicians weighed in on the incident. The comment sections on Vanessa Rose's brand pages overflowed with criticism. Your values are as outdated as your approach to fashion. Shame, never buying from your brand again. Boycott Vanessa Rose. Vanessa tried to salvage the situation, but every public statement she made only made things worse. Her apologies seemed insincere, and her attempts to justify herself fell flat. Meanwhile, the arrogant man from the party line, who had mocked Caitlin, faced unexpected consequences. Some viewers had tracked down his social media profile and linked him to his workplace, a prestigious advertising agency. By noon, the agency released a statement. We do not condone discrimination or arrogance in any form. This employee's behavior does not reflect our company's values. We have terminated our relationship with him. The man became the subject of countless memes with biting captions like, When you try to look cool but become the internet's clown. Laugh carefully. Someone might be recording you. Caitlin watched the unfolding events with a smile, but without malice. She decided to comment on the situation in her blog. I'm not against criticism of my views, but when people judge you by a hat, it's something else entirely. Thank you all for your support, and remember, sometimes a hat can say more about a person than an entire wardrobe. Her post quickly went viral, garnering millions of likes and hundreds of thousands of comments. You're an inspiration to all of us. Now I want a hat like that too. Caitlin, you made my day. Stores selling MAGA-themed merchandise reported a sudden surge in demand. One fan commented, Now I want a cap just like hers. Where can I get one? Caitlin replied with a touch of sarcasm. Better hurry. Red is back in style. Meanwhile, Vanessa Rose faced the biggest crisis of her career. Her brand lost thousands of followers, and major companies began severing contracts with her. The final scene showed Caitlin sitting at a cafe with a latte, her red cap resting on the table beside her. People approached her, thanking her for her calmness and strength. One passerby, smiling, said, You've shown that style isn't about clothes, it's about character. Caitlin raised her cup as if offering a toast and replied, The most important thing is not being afraid to be yourself. The camera slowly panned out, showing Caitlin going about her day, leaving behind a wave of change.